Good afternoon and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Oshan Davis. Coming up today, protests in London on Armistice Day trigger political upheaval. Winchester remembers. And more pain for Winchester's commuters as another key road is closed. Thousands marched through London this weekend calling for ceasefire in Gaza. The march, which was arranged to take place on Armistice Day, was criticised by the now-sacked Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who had described previous protests as hate marches. Alfred Morris reports from London.
Midday in Hyde Park. Thousands of people gathered here in London, singing and flying the flag of Palestine. Police suggest there were 300,000 protesters in the capital, but organisers estimated numbers to be as high as 800,000. An extra 1,000 officers, including some from Hampshire, were drafted in by the Met Police to maintain peace. Far-right activist and English Defence League founder Tommy Robinson called for his supporters to defend the cenotaph, which he claimed was at risk, even though the route for the Palestine protests had been diverted away from the ceremony. In total, 145 arrests were made at the weekend, with many detained for breaching the peace.
When is enough going to be enough? Hamas didn't start this war. Israel did in 1947, and they've continued to kill, they've continued to pillage, they've continued to breach international law, international human rights, the Geneva Convention.
Despite most protesters being peaceful, some of the protesters over the weekend were branded as anti-Semitic, with some ongoing investigations regarding various placards, which have been described by the Met Police as hate speech. The Reformed Jewish Society in the UK had this to say.
We recognise the diversity of voices on the pro-Palestinian protests and demonstrations, and that the right to protest is an essential part of living in a democratic society. We are especially concerned about the impact on Jewish students and children who are already feeling vulnerable. There should be no tolerance for those who are chanting anti-Semitic slogans, celebrating violence, or calling for uprising against Israel and against Jews.
So it seems that any major incidents may have been averted, perhaps in part due to a heightened police presence. Nevertheless, tension still feels high here on the streets of London. Alfred Morris, Winchester News Online.
Rishi Sunak carried out an extensive reshuffle of his cabinet, which included the sacking of Home Secretary and the shock return of a former Prime Minister. Our political reporter Harry Jewell has more.
Has reshuffled his cabinet with some stunning changes. Home Secretary Suella Braverman, who is the MP for nearby Fareham, left government following a weekend of tension after pro-Gaza ceasefire protesters marched through London and right-wing counter-protesters clashed with police near the cenotaph on Armistice Day. There is speculation amongst Conservative commentators that Braverman got herself sacked by courting controversy in an attempt to pitch herself as a future Tory leader. After she was dismissed as Home Secretary, she teased reporters, saying she had more to say. The government machine has been surprisingly quiet about these changes. I contacted the Home, Cabinet and Foreign Offices, but received no response. Braverman speaks for the right of the party, and the reshuffle has represented a shift to the centre ground. This included the shock return of former Prime Minister David Cameron as the new Foreign Secretary, replacing James Cleverly, who took Mrs Braverman's role in the Home Office. David Cameron is the first former PM to return to serve in a cabinet under a different leader since Alec Douglas-Home over 50 years ago. Like Mr Cameron, Douglas-Home also returned to become Foreign Secretary. As he is no longer an MP, David Cameron has been made a member of the House of Lords. He will be known publicly as Lord Cameron.
Away from the chaos in Westminster, Winchester's Remembrance services, in contrast, were a show of quiet reflection. Our reporter Tom Wilson was there.
Winchester remembers. Last Sunday, Winchester Cathedral held its Remembrance Day service to remember and honour those who sacrificed their lives in conflict. Before the 2-minute silence, there was a service inside the cathedral that included prayers, hymns and a choir.
Oh, it was wonderful. I mean, I come to these every year, and this year I had the honour of laying a wreath for the Royal Army Paper Association, and it's just a great feeling to be here to represent the thousands of members that have come and gone in our corps over the last 100 odd years.
Here at Winchester Cathedral is one of the many sites across Hampshire that is commemorating those who lost their lives in the First and Second World War, as well as those who died in recent conflicts.
It's such a pleasure for the Armed Forces to be here in Winchester, to get the whole Armed Forces family together for Remembrance Sunday is absolutely the best thing that could happen here.
Many years I've been in the service and losing lots of friends along the way. To come together today with all these people in the army and the local community and the various forces, it really does show within Winchester the military and the way they take them on and look after us.
As wreaths were laid at the War Memorial by dozens of local groups and associations, it was a day to remember and reflect on those who should not be forgotten. Tom Wilson, Winchester News Online.
To commemorate Remembrance Day, Winchester Cathedral hosted Poppy Fields, an immersive light and sound trail created by a British visual art collective. The show is designed to get people thinking about what remembrance means to them and includes a poem read by Academy Award winner Eddie Redmayne. Sinead Cochran reports.
Poppy Fields has been touring cathedrals across the country for 5 years and has visited places such as Guildford Cathedral and Christchurch, Oxford. But this is the first time that the Poppy Fields have lit up Winchester Cathedral.
Very lucky to be able to produce our work for these buildings. It's a challenge because of the scale of the buildings, but it's always a privilege to work in these places.
Over the years, the show has changed to represent different types of people who fought in both world wars, other international conflict, as well as looking towards peace. The NHS or some of the people are part of the trail to represent historical figures such as Florence Nightingale and those of present day.
I'm standing here in the centre of the cathedral, the nave, where the projections are falling down the walls. This is the first time that Poppy Fields has visited the cathedral, but not the first time that it's been lit up in this way.
3 previous installations here. We did a Christmas installation, which was very popular last year, and we've done 2 of our artworks around different subjects. So one was about the elements and one was about science.
The event is sponsored by South Western Railway, who have worked with the cathedral on a number of projects through the years, but Poppy Fields is close to the hearts of their staff.
Many of our colleagues come from armed forces backgrounds, and so we are very proud to sponsor the Poppy Fields event.
Sinead Cochran, Winchester News Online.
Road closures are a nightmare for all kinds of businesses and commuters. However, for the workers of Handlebar Cafe, this has become the norm. With 2 major roads now being shut in Winchester, what can we expect for the future? Finley Hall took a trip to find out more.
Sites such as these have become all too familiar with the residents of Winchester, with continued roadworks causing further disruptions to drivers and commuters in the area. Garnier Road has been closed due to bridge repairs since March 1st. And was expected to finish in November, but as we can see, it's still going on and is due to carry on until February next year. I've come down to the Handlebar Cafe to see what they're doing about it. The cafe is located just at the base of St Catherine's Hill, a popular walking destination for locals. However, for the past 9 months, one of its main entrances over Tunbridge has been blocked off for construction being done by Hampshire County Council. But how has this been affecting business?
No, I would say it's been really slow, it's been pretty steady. Might have been an impact of the road closure, but definitely not drastic. So I think we're doing fine. It's still reasonably steady, at least during the week, and then the weekends are still pretty busy, so it's not too bad.
Garnier Road, however, is not the only closure in Winchester going on at the moment, with North Walls Lane and pavement having essential work done on it due to concerns over to the safety of the wall. The area has been partially blocked off since 16th of October and is still causing disruptions, with construction hoping to be finished by March next year. This leaves us with two well-used areas in Winchester being closed with roadworks until early next year. But if we've learnt anything in the past, these plans may change in the future. Finley Hall, Winchester News Online.
Two autism charities, Avenues and Autism Hampshire, merged together last week to expand their business and improve their services. I spoke with the CEO of Avenues Group, Joe Land, for all the information. The merger between two autism charities, Avenues Group and Autism Hampshire, was confirmed last week, with ongoing plans to improve the benefits towards autistic people in Hampshire and the UK. Both charities explain they share the same values to their cause and see this as a way to improve their services.
Both Autism Hampshire and Avenues Group have specialist expertise in complementary areas, and there's huge potential for us to learn from each other and develop those skills.
More than 1 in 100 people have been diagnosed with autism in the UK, meaning there are around 700,000 people impacted by the disability in this country.
Yes, definitely. There are more people who are being identified or self-identifying as neurodivergent.
Both charities expect improvements to the services that they already offer and promise ongoing benefits for people with autism across the UK. The annual Popup poster sale returned to Winchester Student Union. A wide range of artwork was available for students to buy to help decorate their homes. Molly Keane has more.
Uni Post Sales is back at the Winchester Student Union this week, and students have the opportunity to buy a range of artwork, varying from paintings by Matisse to posters of Taylor Swift. Gordon Mayer has been selling posters at various different university events since the 1980s, travelling all over the country and giving students the opportunity to personalise and brighten up their rooms.
This one's probably the best seller of the year. It's Monet, Frank Ocean and Taylor Swift have been really good sellers as well. You can just see from that wall that they're really nice quality, and yeah, it's all good.
The company had a fantastic deal on this week, where all posters and art prints could be bought for only £6. The union will be running more events like this in the future, so make sure to keep an eye out. I'm Molly Keane for Winchester News Online. And finally, today was the first day of graduation ceremonies, and even though the rain came down, the hats still went up. Jamie O'Sullivan went down to the cathedral to see if the weather really affected today's celebrations.
Light in the rain, as today was the first ceremony of the week at the Winchester Cathedral to celebrate the graduating class of 2023, and despite the weather, their spirits weren't dampened. There will be 3 ceremonies each day up until Friday, when there will only be 2, with each one celebrating different subjects. This morning's ceremony celebrated those in the Faculty of Law, Crime and Justice.
So I just graduated with a Bachelor of Laws LLB, and I'm now moved on to start studying the bar, trained to be a barrister.
Of course.
Criminology, straight to police hopefully.
So it was cybercrime and forensic investigation. At the moment I'm working at a hotel at the moment. I'm looking for other jobs in the area. There's quite a few opportunities in forensics at the moment in Hampshire specifically, so I'll be looking around in the next month or so definitely.
Honorary doctors will be awarded for their important work. Names like Jonathan Wettenstill, Sue Hill and Clive Murray are amongst the doctorates this year. They will be joining the list of Winchester honorary doctorates with names such as Dame Judy Dench and Craig Reffel-Ford.
So that's the first of 11 ceremonies done here at the University of Winchester, with the last one taking place on Friday. 2,000 people are roughly expected to graduate. Jamie O'Sullivan, Winchester News Online.
That's all we have time for this week. Thank you for watching and see you next week.